Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Andrew Pratley, the head football coach at St. Joseph High School. How's it going?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Okay, so how's practice going so far? And yeah.
Yeah, got a young squad, so every minute of every day is important. And we graduated 28 seniors and 19 starters last year, so totally different type of coaching this year. With all those veterans last year, it was a little easier to just kind of roll with things. This year, it's really paying attention to detail, and I think our young kids have really worked hard to try and grasp everything, and we're excited to see what they can do.
All right, so let's talk about some of the guys that are going to have to fill in those roles, and then just some of the players to watch this year. And let's start with the skill positions and go from there.
Sure, we have a pretty good quarterback battle right now. Jackson Lane, who's our senior backup last year, and Davis Crossman, who's our JV quarterback last year, really having a good battle. They've really done a great job. We're probably going to play them both early and see what happens with that, because they both earned the right to be a starting quarterback here at St. Joe, and have had just a phenomenal summer and fall camp so far. So those two are in our backfield, and Dylan Chapman is probably our number one running back. Comes up from the JV squad. We had three really good seniors last year, so able to keep a kid like him down in that case. And it's definitely a varsity caliber back last year as a sophomore, so I'm excited to see him do his thing in the backfield. And then Derek Cruz is our senior running back, who moves back over from the defense side of the ball. Last year played corner for us. He'll be kind of our lone senior in the backfield. Young receiving core. We have again, we graduated all our receivers, and so Blake Sicarello was our JV free safety last year, and just kind of a dynamic playmaker. So we moved him to our number one receiver spot, and he's having a great summer and fall camp. And so we'll see how the rest pan out. We've got a couple of freshmen we have up right now, taking a look at them, and some sophomores, and just it's a young group, and we're excited to see them kind of get better every day and kind of battle for some spots.
Yeah, let's go to the offensive and defensive line.
Yeah, offensive line wise, we have where kind of most of our starters are back. Actually, we have three guys that started for us last year at some points with some injuries. So Rusty Clare is our left tackle. He's back as a starter as a junior, D1 type prospect. Just a really great football player. One of our captains as a junior. He's going to be a good force on the left side, and Jackson Milnickel, Camden King are back as well, left guard and center, who played probably 6 or 7 starts last year with injuries. And then we have our young sophomores on the other side, battling with a junior to see what happens on that. So 3 really good battles on the right side of the line, but feel confident with all 6 of them, and have some good tight end battles as well. So lots to still decide the offensive line. Defense, we are Max Kesterke's our leader on defense back. He's going to move into safety. Mac Lang was out all last year, was a varsity player, but then got hurt. So he's at free safety, takes over for his brother, ironically. And then we have about 7 defensive linemen that can really get after it. Biggest note, we have a kid that just came out for football, was a hockey player, Jones Rapet, who I think has had an awesome summer and fall camp. So we're excited to see what he can do at defensive end. But it's a defense by committee. They're going to play about 14 or 15 guys on that side of the ball, and pretty fast group, and really looking forward to them getting after the football.
All right. I know you just talked about a lot of the linebackers and secondary, so let's talk about the special team side of things.
Yeah, Rusty Clare's actually our kicker. We graduated Max Taylor's a 3-year starter kicking at Saginaw Valley, so it's a really tough role to fill there. But Rusty's got a boot. His dad kicked at the University of Toledo, so he's got a little bit of that in his blood, and he's been kind of waiting his turn as an offensive lineman to prove that those guys can do something more than just block and pass protect. So he'll be able to boom it a little bit, and probably use Davis as our punter. Just because I don't like to have offensive tackles back there punting, but he's certainly a good enough athlete. If we needed him to, he could do that. So feel good about that. And we do have our snapper. One of the key positions we do have back is our snapper and holder. So one of our corners, JP Heaps is also our long snapper, and Jackson Lane, one of the quarterbacks, is our holder. So feel good about our special team situation, and with the depth that we have really feel like we have a good group of kids to contribute on all the special teams.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's we've talked about the kids, and now let's talk about the schedule. Of course, starting off on the 25th at Niles to open the season. August 31st, home against Detroit Henry Ford. September 8th, home against Kalamazoo Central. September 15th at Battle Creek Lakeview. September 22nd, home against Portage Central. September 29th at Portage Northern. October 6th, home against Stevensville Lakeshore. October 13th at Matawan, and October 20th, home against Battle Creek Central. So kind of talk about the schedule for a second there.
Yeah, I mean, Niles is new to us. It's a 100-year rivalry. My first year here was our 100th game. They kind of switched leagues and got out of our league, and we were able to bring it back in a non-league situation. So we're excited to renew that rivalry. They got a great team coming back, one of the best teams they've had in years, and I have 21 starters back. So it's going to be a big test for us right off the bat. With the experienced group against our young group. And we're excited about Detroit Henry Ford coming over. Neat experience for our kids and for theirs to be able to kind of go cross state and play people that I don't know that how many of their kids have ever been to Southwest Michigan, and our kids the opportunity to play teams from the Detroit area and whatnot. So we're excited about that matchup. And then we get a conference play, and our conference is top to bottom really tough. We were able to get there undefeated last year. So I'm sure we're big circle marks on everybody's schedule, but it's a balanced league, and you got to bring your A game every week. And Kalamazoo Central's coach has done a nice job of getting that program rolling. They've got big numbers, and they were young last year. They're going to be a force early for us. And Portage schools both have, lots of kids back. Portage Central in particular is, it's a rivalry game for us. So that's a big deal week 5, and obviously our biggest rival in Lakeshore week 7 is always a battle for that. It's a big community event, and 10,000 people usually at that game, so it's a big deal here. So we're excited to continue that. And then Battle Creek Central week 9 was for the conference championship last year. They got a lot of kids back. I think they're only starting quarterback back in the league in there. So in Matawan week 8 is a tough game. They've got some really good young players the last couple of years, and I expect to be a battle every week. We're not going to have any weeks off, and being a young squad, we're going to have to grow up fast, be able to compete and continue the success we've had recently.
Let's talk about where you're at this week, of course, with the scrimmages going on, and also really kind of talk about just really where do you want to see, what do you really want to see in this team in the next few weeks heading into that first game against Niles?
Yeah, I think for us, biggest thing is, again, quarterback competition, the offensive line competition, some of those things where we got some guys really competing. What does it look like tomorrow at Jenison? How does that look with a team like Cedar Springs and Grand Rapids Junior's got a lot of kids back, and it's a good test for us with lots of different schemes, and see what our defense can do to line up against the T in Cedar Springs, one of the best T schools in the state, and Grand Rapids Union spread and Jenison's option. And so it's a great scrimmage for us to see what we can do at a lot of different things we'll see throughout the year. And we got to grow up fast. Nobody's going to feel sorry for us that they're all new and starting their first varsity game at Niles. No, they're certainly not going to give us 14 additional points because we're all young kids. But I think our kids are excited. They've some of these guys have waited their opportunity. We had some really good football players, and it doesn't mean that they weren't good football players too. It just means that they may have had other guys ahead of them. And so I think there's a lot of guys getting ready to show that they are capable as well to keep our tradition here at St. Joe.
All right. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us, and best of luck to you guys this season.
I appreciate it very much. Have a great day.